So let's look at money. Money is just an interference factor between what you need and what you're able to get. People think in terms of wanting a job, to get the money, to buy the things that they need. But if they really thought about it, it's not the job or the money that people need, but access to the necessities of life. The use of money results in social stratification and elitism. They say in America that that all people are equal, but most people don't buy the kind of car they want or the house they want. They buy what they can afford. Many cultures tell their people that they are free, but really, you're only as free as your purchasing power. How can someone have freedom when they can't get the best medical care or education for their children? Most people are slaves to jobs that they don't really like, only because they need the money. Many laws are enacted for the benefit of corporations who have the money to lobby, bribe, and persuade government officials to make laws to serve their own interests. People say that the monetary system produces incentive. This may be true to a limited extent, but it also produces greed, corruption, poverty, and tremendous unnecessary human suffering. We have to look at the entire picture. The monetary system is based on artificial scarcity. For example, food products are often destroyed just to keep the prices up. There's a tremendous waste of resources as a result of frequent superficial design changes. This is quite evident in the fashion industry. Our social system is based on the need to continuously buy. You and I in this system are merely consumers. There's a tremendous environmental degradation due to the higher cost of more appropriate waste disposal. In other words, the earth is being plundered for profit. The recent oil spill in the Gulf is a good example of this. But one of the greatest waste of resources and lives is the military. How shameful that it's one of the most profitable and biggest industries in the world. It's little understood just how much our values are shaped by the monetary system. Our values are influenced by the media for the benefit of the establishment. And by this, I mean the banks, the military, and the corporations. For the most part, they determine the public agenda to serve their own interests. They perpetuate the illusion that society's values are determined by the ground up. They do this with empty words such as freedom, patriotism, and democracy. What we have all over the world is managed news by and for the establishment. They produce the books, the newspapers, the TV shows, the movies, education, and entertainment, which in turn shapes our values and our behavior. And they do this to keep things as they are. Most important, when the corporation's bottom line is profit, all decisions are made not for the benefit of people or the environment, but primarily for the acquisition of wealth, property, and power. For instance, if your country really cared about you, they wouldn't outsource jobs for cheaper wages elsewhere. What if all the money in the world suddenly disappeared? As long as we had arable land, factories, technical personnel, and other resources existed, we could build anything we wanted to build and fulfill most of our needs. The Venus Project advocates that with today's ingenuity, we could easily overcome scarcity, which is the cause of most of our problems, such as war, corruption, and aberrant behavior. We could accomplish this by implementing a resource-based economy. This is very different than anything that's gone before. It has nothing in common with communism, capitalism, or fascism. To put it simply, a resource-based economy uses resources rather than money, and all people have free access to their needs without the use of money, credit, barter, taxation, or any other form of debt or servitude. In other words, all of the Earth's resources would be held as the common heritage of all the world's people. The real wealth of any nation is not its money, but its resources and the people who work toward the elimination of scarcity for a more humane society for everyone. If this is still confusing to you, consider this. If a group of people were stranded on an island and they had gold, diamonds, money, but the island had no arable land, no clean water, and no fish, their wealth would be irrelevant to their survival. Money is not what people need, but rather it's the necessities of life. In a resource-based economy, resources are used directly to enhance the lives of all people. If we manage resources wisely, we could easily produce the necessities of life and provide a very high standard of living for everyone. This may be hard to believe or understand, but even the wealthiest of today would have a much higher standard of living in a resource-based economy. When science and technology are unleashed into society to improve the lives of everyone without restrictions of money, the marketplace, or patents, we could then begin to know what it really means to be human. In a resource-based economy, children would be taught to be problem solvers instead of the parasitic professions used within the monetary system that don't contribute to the well-being of people. These would be fields such as advertising, insurance, real estate, law, politics, and sales. All those professions wouldn't be needed if we didn't use money. When all the Earth's resources are shared, there would be no need for the military. This savage profession could easily be surpassed within a resource-based economy. These people are merely trained to be killing machines. How wonderful it would be if they were sent back to school and trained how to be problem solvers instead, to learn how to bridge the difference between nations without violence. When all the Earth's resources are managed and shared as the common heritage of all the world's people, the artificial boundaries that separate nations would no longer be necessary. Invasion of countries purely for resource theft would be a thing of the past. And that's why we invade other countries. It's not to bring democracy and freedom, as they tell us in the United States. In a resource-based economy, instead of fighting one another over scarce resources, people will be working towards solving problems that are common to everyone, such as the risk of cancer, heart disease, tsunamis, and earthquakes